think I fell prey to my parents attempting to get the dogs to not break into things.
Uh-huh.
So like there's these two big bins, like one that's got their dog food and one that's got bird food. And there's these crows, young crows that come to the yard who confusingly we feed dog food to, and they were out there. So I was like, "Oh, crow gang, what's up?" So I feed the crows. And then I ate a Danish, and I think the bitter yuck that was on the container was then on the Danish. And then I had to puke. So, and then I needed to just lay down for a minute.
Yeah.
So it's got great start to the day. It's not even a start today. I've been like up podcasting since, I got up at 5:30. So.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Cool.
just
I'm a
you just
machine.
burning the midnight oil.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like, it's late in the UK, right? And when you ask fancy people to record things, you have to just like go with it, even if it's, before 9 a.m. Anyway, it's my last day in Tacoma, so I'm like, you know what? Like, we just got to power through it. We've got to power through it. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah. Yeah. How are you? How's your New Year and Christmas?
Christmas is good. New Year's is good. I've successfully ringing in 2024 with a sinus infection, so that's good to know.
Oh, gosh. Dream team. Yes. One's got a sinus infection.
Pretty much.
One's puking from dog deterrent. It's like, let's go.
Oh
Love
man,
that.
yeah. It's 2024. Everybody get excited about geez, I don't know. My sinuses. You fucking clue. Yeah, it's it's big. Did you go to any parties or anything, or did you stay in?
I went to my cousin's house. Well, apartment. So my cousin lives on Capitol Hill, and it is kind of like up the hill from where the Space Needle is and downtown is and stuff. And he lives in this bizarre, cool old 60s block of flats that was built for the World's Fair as a hotel. And he's got a view of the Space Needle from his balcony, which looks directly at the Space Needle, which is where they do the fireworks in Seattle. So I had a small one. I went out with him and my brother, and we had a couple drinks like around on the hill, and then we just went to his and drank some Snoop Dogg sparkling wine, and smoked too many joints, and had a great little New Year's Eve, like real old people style. Like I was at home and in bed by 3. We didn't do it too big. It was good. So really, really fun. I think that is really the key to New Year's, is like low expectations. And then it's like,
Yeah.
you can't be disappointed then.
Yeah.
Then that's really the way. Like, I remember when I lived in Sydney, there was so much pressure to like get New Year's Eve right, because it's the middle of summer, and like it was just like a whole different ball game. And I've since then like had to really learn how to have a chill time and not push it too hard, I think. So I succeeded this year, so it was really nice. It was really pleasant. I haven't had a New Year's at home for 8 years, so that's nice. And when I do have New Year's here, I just go to my cousin's, because you can't beat the view. That's it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Like, I mean, what? Like, there's no point in pushing something bigger than that, So, meh. Yeah. So, ready for 2024, big conference starting tomorrow, and we're just going for it, baby. We're just going through.
You gotta fly down to San Fran.
Yeah, and like
Fly into the the airport that runs into the fucking ocean.
yeah,
Just
I used to fly into it all the time, coming from Sydney, because like you can't well, there was like one Hawaiian flies directly from Seattle to Sydney, but because no one else does it, it's massively expensive. So I was always going to San Francisco and then getting another flight. And like the number of times I've flown into San Francisco is significant. We'll just say that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like flying anyway. I hate landing even more than I hate flying.
Yep.
But like it is pretty wild. It just looks like, well, guess we're going in for a water landing.
I don't know. Damn. You know, so yeah, it's my least favorite landing in the world is Wellington. Because it's like a similar thing where you're really, really close to the water, and also it's always super, super windy in Wellington, so the plane is like, wow, like everywhere. It's a lot. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. You ready to do this?
I am ready to rock, babes.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome back to We're Not So Different, a podcast about how we've always been idiots. My name is Luke Waters, and I'm an amateurish historian. And as always, I'm joined by Dr. Eleanor Yannicka, who is anything but. Hey, it's 2024. Let's fucking go, people. Woo!
Pew, pew,
Podcast.
pew.
New year, same podcast. I guess.
That's right.
Yeah, whatever. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yep. Something like that. Yeah. Today we're going to talk, we're going to do a little bit of a look back at 2023. But before we do all that, we got a couple of patron questions. The first one is from I Would Whack 500 Moles, who says, I would love to know the answer to a specific time travel question. I talked to my daughter about pigments, and lapis lazuli came up, and a kilo of the stuff cost $25,000 today. I was wondering what commodity you should take back in time to the Middle Ages that would give you the most historical bang for your modern buck. Or, worded more boringly, what commodity is very cheap today that was very expensive in the Middle Ages?
So, yeah, I mean, as you can see, lapis lazuli, not cheap still, so that's a bad answer. I was thinking about this though, and I think gold leaf might be on there, because you know, like you can get gold leaf for not a ton of money now. You know, like everyone has like that edible gold leaf and all these things, which you know it's expensive and stupid, but it's not expensive like it would be for medieval people. So you could do a fair trade with people in the manuscripts business about that. But you know, the answer is probably spices. It's probably just like, it's probably black peppercorns. Yeah. You know, which we pay like almost nothing for. Like you could make a lot of money off of black peppercorn, nutmeg, cloves, you know, like actual cinnamon bark. You could probably get a lot for vanilla extract.
Yeah, becoming the king of Siam with a single pepper shaker that you buy at the grocery store.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. So it's like, I'm trying to, you know, obviously stay with things that they have or are aware of, because like that's the way to I think, get the most money. But I would say spices is probably it. And, you know, with that, pepper is so cheap for us. That I think that, you know, it's like you just go to one of those hippie stores where they got the bins and get yourself some black peppercorns and like...
Yeah.
You can trade it for a townhouse in London or something.
Exactly. Yeah. I was trying to think if there would be any like metals or anything, but that would be very heavy. You know, like I guess you know, they would be really into iron, and I guess you maybe could get iron for a lot cheaper now, especially since you could probably scavenge it or salvage it from stuff. But like, it's just too fucking heavy to carry. The peppercorns, man, you get a whole backpack of peppercorns.
Whoa,
like,
yeah.
That's just you're in business. You know, you just the richest man and all. There would suddenly pop up legends. They'd be like the richest woman in all of Bohemia.
Yeah, exactly.
One day this woman showed up and she had a sack full of peppercorns. They made her the queen for.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
it would be a lot, So I think that stuff your carry on with peppercorns. That's my answer. Yeah.
But would it would it horribly destabilize the economy by having that much there at one time? Would you need to maybe have just like a handful of peppercorns and then maybe some, like nutmeg or whatever and cloves and then, so
Yeah, because I guess
you don't.
Yeah, I think you're right because like with the bag full of peppercorns, what you want to either meter that out over time, or like maybe do some kind of like pepper clove nutmeg
Yeah.
type of situation,
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe hold most of your peppercorn back. You don't want a Mansa Musa situation
No.
in your hands. You're just destabling everyone by giving out gold to every single person you've ever seen. You
Completely
just, yep.
changing Bohemian cuisine,
Yeah.
showing up with too many peppercorns at once.
Everything there is just like you have like all Bohemian cuisine is now blackened food. You just like it just like can you the fusion of Creole blackening with whatever it is Bohemians eat.
Pig, mostly.
Sure, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would whack 500 moles. There's your answer. Take a bunch of peppercorns back, but don't use them all at once.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to destabilize the regional economy. But, do give them enough spices so someone else is also doing blackening, because that would be pretty cool.
That would be good. Yeah.
And we got another question because, we didn't get to many last month. So, we got one from A Bag of Lobsters. I've been watching a lot of History Hit videos about farm life, and I feel like someone here probably knows the answer to this. I assume that has to mean you, because I certainly don't. Would a medieval peasant in, say, England in the 1400s own all the animals they need to sustain themselves? Would everyone be keeping their own oxen or horses for plowing, pigs, geese, chickens, sheep, goats, etc.? Or would you be trading with others for whatever your farm could not provide? Could you rent someone's ox for a day? When it came time to plow, how specialized could a small farm get, etc.?
Yeah, this is a great question. And the answer is it depends on how much money you have. Because a lot of people are going to have all their own animals. But if you have less money, you may be renting plowing animals and that sort of thing more specifically. And so that's like one thing that's going to hold you back. If you are, if you've got less money more generally. And the thing of that is, obviously there are real different outcomes for who's a peasant and who is farming. Right. So like, maybe you're one of the richer peasants and you've got it all going on, or like middle class peasants, which certainly exist, but I think that seriously you'd be kind of like looking at some impoverished people not being able to afford it. Now, by the 1400s, we would be talking about horses almost exclusively for plowing, because the horse collar is introduced very widely come the 13th century. Which is cool and allows more, it's much easier because horses are faster and they don't get as tired. It's like, you can just kind of get more land plowed than oxes. Oxes are stronger at it, but horses are quicker. And so that makes it a little bit easier to share animals than oxen. Now, when it comes to like geese and pigs and stuff like that, again, like what you would have there for like sheep, goats, et cetera, that's going to be like personal use things, right? So like, you're not going to be able to rent. Either you got a pig or you don't. Either you have geese or you don't, things like that, and not everyone is going to have them. Everyone's probably going to have some of these things. Like they're probably going to have chickens, like stuff like that is not a huge big deal. And like most people can kind of like scrape together enough for a cow, and you can have a kind of like more specialized small farms that certainly does exist. You might like, for example, be growing very specific things. Like if you can get a hold of, I don't know, madder root to grow, which you can sell for dye. you could make a lot of money off of that, but you're still going to need kind of like your basic day-to-day stuff. And sometimes it depends on how much of a prick your lord is. Because, your lord can also be like, no, you can't do that. I want you growing X things. So it varies from place to place and time to time. But in all things, it's just that there's so many different people who are peasants that there's a real differentiation in what their outcomes are and what they're able to do. And so, the answer is always like, this is true of someone, but not of other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, would they, in the winter, would all of those animals be sleeping inside, or would some of them just be relegated to the cold and have to fucking deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly the case. Like a lot of the time, you do bring your animals in the winter, but sometimes that's just like to keep you warm. You're like, yo, get the horse in here. It's cold, like we're just, we're getting the body heat thing going. If you're really rich, you'll have a good barn. But like a pig is never coming in the house.
Yeah.
Right. Now, granted, you usually kill a pig in December and you don't have that many pigs. Like if you've got a specialist pig farm, that's one thing, and you might have a lot, but you would never bring those guys inside. They're going to eat the baby, and they're filthy. But, you might.
They'll eat all your furniture. They just eat any fucking thing. It doesn't matter.
But like, you're probably not going to bring the sheep in, because they're covered in wool. So it's like, it really depends on can the animal behave itself?
Right.
How much room do you have? You may bring a sheep into a barn, though, and so that they're just a little bit better provided for. But you probably aren't going to bring sheep into the house, if that makes sense. It's more like for horses or oxen or cows that you would bring into the house.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, a bag of lobsters, thank you for the question. And if you guys want to ask us questions like that, then please subscribe to the subscribe to the Patreon. Patreon.com/WNSDpod. Just $5 a month. You get access to great bonus episodes, ad-free versions of all these episodes, and you can ask us questions, join the Discord, etc., etc. And we are looking forward to more great Patreon content in 2024. But anyway, on to the main show. So this is the new year, I guess. It's 2024, but we're still getting used to it. You know how it is. The new year takes a little time to settle in. This is where I'd make a joke about how we're still writing 2023 on our checks if people still wrote checks, but they don't. Call it a hangover or not being ready to move on yet or whatever. But the point is we just aren't in New Year mode yet. So we're going to start off by taking a look back at 2023. We'll talk about new medieval discoveries, our own personal highlights, favorite movies and TV, and even look forward to 2024 with some New Year's resolutions and predictions. It will be fun, I promise. Eleanor, since we are ostensibly a medieval history podcast, let's start our review there from the standpoint of a historian. What were some major discoveries, theories, ideas, or news about the Middle Ages from 2023?
So some of my favorite things actually kind of like came really late in the year. So one thing is, do you know about like the big chalk guy with a penis in the UK?
I'm sorry, what now?
Yeah, okay, so like it's a big thing, especially down in the south of England, where people will carve things into the sides of hills where things are really chalk laden. So there's this guy, the Cerne Abbas giant, and he is on the side of a hill in Dorset, which is down in the southwest. And he's about 180 feet high, and he's holding a big old club, and he's got his dick out. And we know him to be like a medieval guy. We think that he's from around like 700 in the Common Era or 110 in the Common Era, and we didn't know what he was for initially. And there has been a big study now. We think it is supposed to be Hercules. And he is used for mustering troops. It turns out it was like, oh, everyone go meet at like Hercules with his dick out, and you know, like that's, and there's a raid coming, so we need to like get prepared for it, and it's where you would like muster troops together. So I thought that was a really cool and interesting bit of information. I also really liked this study that's come out in a big part done by the London Museum about plague outcomes from the Black Death. They did a lot of interesting work and found that, like, surprise, one of the groups hardest hit by the Black Death is black women in London in the 14th century, because everyone was being jerks to them already, so they didn't have like support networks. So African women, or women of African descent, I should say, die at a much higher rate. It's a really, really good piece of research. The articles are just kind of starting to get out now. It's also kicked off like a backlash in the UK because the right wing, you know, our right wing are very interesting because in the first place, they don't want there to have been black women in London in the 14th century. But I'll have you know that if there were, no one was being racist to them. It's like, okay, right. Sure. Like, fine. I don't know. Like, they're very mad about it. I don't really understand why. But you know, who understands these guys anyway. Yeah. But that's a series of articles that are really interesting. And I encourage people to have a look at them as well. Really, really enjoyed both of those things, I would say.
Yeah, that's you know, that's good stuff. You know, we just I'm just thinking about that study. Like, was it? So it like, was there like an enclave of women of African descent, or was it like they were just kind of spread out through the city? Like, you know, was it like, you know, I guess I'm just trying to piece that together in my head.
So it's an interesting one, right? So it was done. One of the articles was published in Bioarchaeology International, and they went and had a look at remains from about 3 different cemeteries and 145 people that we knew were plague victims. Okay, and we had a look at their bones and teeth. And then that's kind of like how we got a sense of what the racial makeup was. So they found 145 people. They figured out that 49 of them had died specifically of plague. And of those 49, 9 were of African descent. So about 18% of them were. 96 people more generally had died of other causes. And that included about 8 people who were African. At some point. So like that's pretty high, right?
Yeah.
So it's about 18% of the people who were African and plague victims, and 8% were African, and they just died of whatever else. So that's like a higher proportion of Africans than other causes. So that's quite interesting, right?
Yeah.
So we don't really know if this is indicative of whether or not this is a particularly large black enclave or not. But basically, we find that more people of color, and black women in particular, are buried in plague cemeteries than white people, right?
Yeah.
And basically, a lot of these people were enslaved. And had like worked in the houses of, you know, quite influential, wealthy merchants. And so like you do tend to see that people who are in like the lower echelons of society die from the plague at higher rates, because like they're the ones who aren't allowed to stop working. You know, like you can be afraid of going outside and contacting the plague, but you can send your enslaved person out, right?
Right.
And it's quite interesting that basically what we're saying here is that like there are differing outcomes, not just for people based on race, but certainly based on socioeconomic status, which is racialized, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like 18% of Plague Cemetery being women of African descent would seem to be a much larger percentage than they would normally make up in the population of the time. So, like, yeah, it's pretty, yeah, seems like a pretty outsized thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's very interesting. I thank you for going into that, because sometimes I get very interested in like the nerdy aspects, and like I really do love the interplay between like you guys and archaeologists. Like when historians and archaeologists play nice together, I always love that.
Yeah.
as a third party, I just think, I'm like, no, you guys don't fight. You're both neat. There's no reason to fight, guys. No.
I love cross-disciplinary research like that, and I think that it's so great when we see really big projects like that going forward. So these are the kind of things that I'm always hyped about. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything that you're aware of now that is coming in 2024 that you're looking forward to, maybe studies or books or anything like that?
Well, I think that there are a lot of good medieval history books that are on the horizon. So like, as always, I'm kind of like having a kind of like a shout out to them. So there is one that I'm looking forward to by John Marshall that is about Peter of Savoy, called The Little Charlemagne. And I'm quite interested in that. There is going to be a new Charles IV book out, which I want to read. That is by Václav Jurek and Ian Finlay Stone, which is called Charles IV, Portrait of a Medieval Ruler. I'm always interested in more on that. So I think that Ian translated it, and it's Jurek's initially. So I've read it in the Czech, but I'd like to see what's going on otherwise. There are some interesting, there's an interesting one coming out about medieval Siena, that is just called Siena, The Life and Afterlife of a Medieval City, by Jane Stevenston. So that should be quite fun. And also J.F. Andrews has one that I'm really looking forward to that's coming out, that's called The Families of Eleanor of Aquitaine, A Female Network of Power in the Middle Ages. And so that's going to be really, right? So I'm incredibly hyped on that. It's coming out next month. It's out on February 16th. So I'm trying to get a hold of that as fast as I can. So yeah, that there's a lot of fun stuff going on. And, I think that there is stuff out there for readers who are not giant nerds like me. Like the Eleanor of Aquitaine one should be quite interesting, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds fun as hell. Yeah. As for the show itself, we had a big year in 2023. As of last week's episode, we now have 200 total episodes between the main show and our patron exclusive bonus episodes.
I can't believe that.
That's awesome. Yeah. On the you're stuck with me. It's
I love it. I love this for us. That's all.
On the regular episodes, we finished up our series on heresies and the Reformation, did a series on the 100 Years' War and the Wars of the Roses, and one on Arthuriana. We also had our 100th regular episode, looked at some medieval what-if scenarios, some famous medieval women, and some absolute fail sons, too. We also had guest appearances from Cleo Pethanu, Phoebe Roy, and the stunning return of Patrick Wyman. As for the Patreon, we did 22 bonus episodes this year, including finishing up our book club series on the Silmarillion and doing an excellent book club series on Dante's Inferno, if we do say so ourselves. There's also episodes on current events, Giants, a 2-part review of Castlevania Nocturne from Netflix, and our current TV club series on Star Wars Andor. In 2024, we will continue to bring you great regular episodes doing more on medieval women, folklore from other parts of the medieval world outside of Western Europe, movie reviews, interviews, and fun series. Who knows, we might even get to talk about the Americas during the Middle Ages. But regardless, it will be fun. As for the bonus, we will finish up Andor, do more book club stuff, and definitely have more on the medieval aspects of Dune Part 2, which is coming out in March. Eleanor, what did you enjoy from the show this year that we did?
Oh gosh, I'm actually quite proud of the stuff we did on Arthuriana. I suppose that's what comes to mind because we did it so later in the year. And I'm also really excited about the women's stuff that we've started off, and I think it's fun to kind of have an intermittent series like that to come to and go back and forth on. But to be honest, I just loved the Dante book club.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was just a lot of fun. I'm just like, this fucking guy. Like, I love Dante. I love how petty he is. I love how he's just got such an axe to grind, and it's just incredibly fun for me doing all of that. I had fun too.
You read the whole thing doing Bart. Like, he's such a bitch. He's just such a bitch about everything. He's so, petty and gossipy, and it's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, completely. And I just think that it's so much fun to watch someone just be a dickhead like that. Yeah. So I really, really enjoyed that. And it's fun because you do get so much texture of the medieval world and, such a portrait of a person. We'll say that. Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
See, I loved the Reformation stuff. That was a lot of fun. The heresies, I like doing that a lot. I love talking about those. I really like doing the 100 Years' War thing. I thought that was a lot of fun because it's fun when all entire generation of French noblemen die in the fucking mud. It's always a hoot. I love the Dante thing. That was great. We had there's so much there. There's so much to explore, and just so many little bits of lore where he's just pulling it in from everywhere, and he just is it's just still the way we think about hell now. That's it. That's it. Fire and brimstone and all that shit is just him, and it's the way that people think about hell and other. They think about hell generally who aren't even Christians, who don't grow up in Christian societies. It's just I think that's wild.
Yeah, I mean, imagine having that much influence because of a one book. It's incredible.
Yeah, the Catholic Church was that was hell. They said that for 400 or 500 years. Yep, that's hell. That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
the stuff about the popes, but I mean, they kind of suck though.
Everybody does love putting a pope in hell's out. There's nary a hell fresco without a pope in it. Obviously, because
well, so that's that's what we did with the show in 2023. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope we will continue listening in 2024. But as for stuff, Eleanor, what was something you did this year, personally, professionally, that you were particularly proud of?
It's probably the book coming out, isn't it? Which was this year, which was January 2023 and March 2023. It should be coming out this month now in paperback. Hint, hint. If any of you hoes haven't bought this book yet, then guess what? It's about to get cheaper. So do me a favor and really pick that one up. So I think that's a big thing. And to be honest, it's just taken so much of my energy this year. That's kind of got to be my answer. right?
Yeah.
Because it's just taken so much to kind of like push that into being. And there's all like these funny little things that, you know, like it's out in German now. So I spent a lot of like the last part of the year kind of dealing with that, which was tricky. But yeah. It's
Funny.
it has to be, you know, when you come out with something like that, that has to be the answer, right? So um, it's not exactly world breaking or news for anyone, but it has to be that, right?
Yeah.
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 It's you can't if you get a book published, that's it's a big deal. It's you gotta celebrate it, you gotta you gotta get excited about it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't you don't know that other people will, and you always got to be your biggest cheerleader, because people are going,
Yeah.
no one else is going to do it for you. They're not going to come in and be like, oh yeah, they might if you're lucky or famous enough, but yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, otherwise it's on you,
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it. Yeah. So yeah, so like looking back, what were your favorite movies, shows, books, whatever of 2023? What did you really enjoy?
So I have one answer, which, I saw the other week. So it's fresh in my mind that I will say and shout out. I saw The Boy and the Heron.
Oh yeah, the Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh, that motherfucker's done it again. We cannot stop this old man from reflecting on the nature of loss. And it's, and I don't think it's like, I would say it's not one of his greats. Of course, like what I call his like greats is like Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, things of this nature. Now, having said that, it really, really stands up. It is really beautiful. It's a delightful romp in many ways. And I really enjoyed it. I'm a sucker. So, he saw me coming. I'm very rarely going to be like, I did not like the Studio Ghibli film, but, shout out anyway, and I think that you should see it for sure. And then I have a bunch of unclassy things that I enjoyed movie-wise this year. I saw Renfield. I really liked Renfield.
Huh. Interesting.
Again, a romp. Nicolas Cage eating scenery. Fight scenes involving beating people with their own arms. Things of this nature. I enjoy that. A lot of the time if I watch a movie, I just want to turn my brain off. And that was made available to me through Renfield. So thank you, I would say. And of course, who could forget, in the same vein, John Wick 4. It's like... I love the John Wick movies. They're so stupid, man.
Slamming a fucking coin down. Like, you just, imagine walking into the Continental by mistake. You're like your office, your company brings you in because you got to do a presentation or something, and they book you in the Continental by mistake. You just walk in there, and they're like gunfights happening. You're like, man, I'm just here for this conference. What the fuck is happening?
Come on, man.
Like, why are these people all wearing $19,000 suits and glaring at each other while caressing their guns? What the fuck is happening?
It's always all like, oh no, he's making a getaway through like the Museum of Machetes or something.
Yeah. Oh no, we're walking into the historic section with all of the historic, still functioning weaponry.
Yeah.
Oh no, whatever's gonna happen. You're just like, dude swinging a mace while somebody's throwing ninja stars, and you're just like, yeah, why not? Who gives? Sure. This is great. Who gives a shit? Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant stuff, so
guys with vaguely Eastern European accents, or like the mythos of it is great, because it's just as if like not only are hitmen well known, they are so well known as to be like famous, and they're and like like you pissed off John Wick, and someone's like, and the like meanest Russian mobster alive who like boils people in lye for like fun is like, oh holy fuck, we've gone too far now. Not John Wick, and you're just like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
whatever.
I love that shit.
This works.
I love that shit. I guess the other one that I really enjoyed, this is probably, down to the fact that it is shot in and around my neighborhood, but I really enjoyed Rye Lane, which is a little British rom-com, set in Peckham. Shout out, Southeast Massive, etc. There's that. That I really do recommend. If you like British things, it's a really nice little rom-com, and you can see what my neighborhood looks like. So that's one thing that I think is very good indeed. Oh, and I guess of course my last movie. Obviously we gotta shout out to my patron saint and yours, St. George Michael's Wham documentary was of course excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I haven't checked that one out yet.
It's a romp. Okay.
I believe you.
Well, actually, it sort of is. You kind of feel really sad for George Michael, and
I was going to say,
like,
it seems like it would
closet.
be very. Yeah, it seems like it would be very, very sad. The whole time, like
yeah,
like oh, like you just have the Wham music playing in the back, got the boom boom, and then like in the foreground, like George Michael's just sobbing into his hands. You're like,
yeah, there is a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of like his fucking father. Things like that. But it's really, really good. And I do, if you like documentaries, and of course, everybody likes George Michael. So, you get to hear a lot of good tunes and then get disgusted by like how talented he was at a young age. So yeah, strong recommend. Strong recommend.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. As for me, movie wise, I sang the praises of Godzilla -1 and Oppenheimer. I really love those. Man, I really don't get to see a ton of new movies. I'm just thinking about I watched the Last Duel this year, even though it wasn't new, and I really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, we loved that. Yeah.
Yeah, what else did I see? Oh, I like the Dungeons and Dragons movie. That was fun. I'm not the biggest like Dungeons and Dragons lore guy, but I thought they did a really good job with how they handled it. It was a lot of fun. Like Barbie, pretty well. It was somebody staring into the camera and go, "We should vote to change the Constitution." Withered my entire frame with the cringe, but I also there's also a lot of fun in that goddamn Dua Lipa song was stuck in my head for like 5 weeks. The one that they clapped to at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
It's like I heard it the other day and I was like,
no, it's back.
Begins again.
No.
It was it was something. Yeah. Let's see. I was trying to think of other stuff. Shows. Nocturne was fun. The Apple TV Godzilla show is pretty fun. Yeah, Kurt and Wyatt Russell play the same character. In different eras, and so that's kind of cool. And Godzilla's in it. It's like if Godzilla's in it, I'll watch it. I don't really care how bad it is. We'll figure that part out on the back end. It's big lizard, big dragon, breathe atomic fire. And I clap like a seal. That's just how it goes. Yeah. Let's see. Games. Jedi Survivor was very good. Armored Core 6 was very good. God, I know I must have played something else at the beginning of the year, but I can't remember now for the fucking life of me what it
you're
was.
the gamer, so you're responsible for, like, I'll just say something nerdy about board games, and it'll be like,
no,
what? And I'll be like, what? So,
well, like if it's incumbent on me, we're all doomed because I like. Oh man, I don't play many new ones. Because if I'm not if I don't think I'm really gonna like it, I'm not gonna waste my time and they're so goddamn expensive. Like it's not even like you can rent a movie, be like, I might like this. You rent it for like $3 or $4 or $5 or whatever, and it's fine. And it's like, if you hate it, you can either laugh at it or just turn it off. Okay, you wasted $4. That's not great, but whatever. But like with a video game, you're like, wasted 30 or 60 or 70. It's like, yeah, no, that's a lot of fucking money. Yeah, so you know how it is. I just yeah, having a kid means you don't get to play and do a lot of stuff. I've been trying to see Killers of the Flower Moon for fucking 6 weeks now.
Yeah. It's too long for me. I can't do it. 3.5 hours? It's too much.
I'm excited. Give it to me, but I will be watching it at home with a pause button, which will be helpful if I need to go to the bathroom or whatever. I don't really mind long movies. I'm fine with it. Like I will look up and look up what I missed if I'm confused about anything. Or I don't know. I don't like. It's just one of those things. Like you do it, and like if you really like the movie, then you'll watch it at home the next time and you can see it, You're like, oh yeah, I missed that part because I had to go to the bathroom. I don't know. It's just,
I just want an intermission.
I get why people. Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I just give me a break in the middle,
I would say an intermission would be nice if they brought back intermissions. But yeah, I don't like it when like theaters just put them in randomly. Like if directors want to do them, yeah, sure. But like when theaters are like, oh, we're gonna put it in, I'm like, no. If they wanted an intermission, they would have put it in. Like
Yeah, I think they should put it in. That's my point. So
yeah. I feel that. Trying to think about anything else. Yeah, so that was 2023. It was fun. And by fun, I mean horrifying in so many goddamn ways. Oh my
god, yeah.
But yeah, what do we got? What do we got for predictions for 2024, Eleanor? What is going to happen?
Is that an answer?
It is an answer of a certain kind.
Yeah, I guess that it's like, I'm not looking forward to the American election.
No.
Right? So that's going to be hogwash. And I imagine it's just going to take so much energy and headspace, and I don't want to do it. And I'm really not looking forward to that. Let's just say.
No. I got Biden losing the popular vote and winning the Electoral College, which is like the most fitting capper to like the recent American history of the exact opposite. And like all of these people are like, no, it's great now. The Electoral College is great. And I'm like, you fucking morons.
Oh god. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm probably looking down the barrel of 2 elections I'm not excited about. I don't know when the Tories are going to call the I mean, it might be like this time next year for the UK one, but like it's not going to do anything. Right? Like, I mean, the American one is a little bit more consequential in terms of like what it means for the UK one just will mean that we have a different haircut in charge. So but everyone's going to pretend like someone in Labour getting in the UK is going to change things, and it's not. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to like that.
Yeah.
Whitewashing.
I'm fully. It's going to fully drive people insane because like it's just like we now have like a scenario wherein both Trump and Biden like. If anybody else, anybody, I guess, other than Ron DeSantis, if anybody else was running for the Republicans, they would probably beat Biden. And if anybody else, not anybody, but if like most any other Democrat was running in place of Biden, they would beat Trump. And it's just like, and instead we've got these two like old men who are old as fuck, just like won't let go of the grip on power. And, you know, they're just, oh man.
I'm just like, how are we in a space where it's two octogenarians? That's what I want to know.
Man.
Like, don't
this
you have...
gerontocracy has run its
I am just,
course.
I'm begging these people to enjoy their old age and let someone with some fucking skin in the game run the country. Like, oh my God. But yeah.
It's, it's insane. It's just like, I don't know how they're going to make it. Like, I don't know how how their bodies hold up, because they're both showing signs of like going downhill. And it's just like, you know, like what if you have one of those, Mr. Burns was rushed to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. He was then transferred to a much better hospital where his doctors upgraded his condition to alive. Like, when are you going to have one of these guys, like one of these guys, like, seem like they die and like some news, ABC or CBS or whoever puts like, former President Trump dead. And he's like, no, he's alive. Man, what a perfectly amazing pickle we've got ourselves in here with like the two dumbest countries in human history.
It's just
grinding it down at the end into dust. Fantastic.
Yeah,
and by
really.
Fantastic, I mean horrible.
I'm just not looking forward to that. That's all I can say. Like, the entire thing is just exhausting, and I know it's going to take a lot of energy just to get through it. So, not very fun for me. Of course, we also have like the ongoing genocide to stare at.
Yeah.
One hopes that people will stop being monsters, but I don't know. Signs point to no. So there's that. There's that little tidbit. So it's difficult right now to be. I think particularly hopeful about things if what we're looking at is kind of like world scale politics of that nature. But on the other hand, despair is a luxury that we cannot afford. So, we march onward. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll just, in America here, we got, there's a lot of opportunity to, a lot of people are coming to the realization of how evil America actually is, and whether it should have taken them that long is another story that we can debate at another time. Mm-hmm. But the fact is that when conditions become worse overall, and they are worsening, the political horizons widen. And widen and widen and widen, and they keep to the point where like more things are possible, and it's possible to do not just like the narrow bounds of what we lived in, but like things that are things that would have been considered insane 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. It like now is just like we could think about it now. We can do stuff and form maybe new political formations, something like that. So maybe we could form, an actual, real revolutionary party in this country. And the American left can stop pretending that it's going to somehow dilute itself into thinking that it's going to be able to change the Democrats and take power that way. It's already failed before. Bernsteinism, Kautskyism is not. It's not going to save us. It didn't save the Germans. It's not going to save us. It's just the way it is. The way of history, both fortunately and unfortunately. So yeah. But I just that's how not a lot of great predictions to look forward to, but at least I think that it does move the needle for possibilities because the situation is becoming dire.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that we are becoming more and more close to at least a pre-revolutionary moment. I would say that because the contradictions are so heightened. I think we could all agree to that. And what I would say is that if you are feeling despair, and which I understand, it is a great opportunity and time to start getting involved with like local organizing in your area, and like what are like local mutual aid groups doing. I'm really involved with some of my local mutual aid groups, and also like anti-migrant raid groups as well, which, sometimes we get some successful actions. We can stop people being deported. Like, this is the thing that we need right now is, we need boots on the ground. If you've got any organizations in your area, for example, that work with like feeding unhoused people or, anything like that, that's something that you can do that makes a real world change. And if, you feel hopeless or helpless, you will find, I think, that working with other people helps to ameliorate that. And, also there's just a lot of work to do out there. So instead of despairing that it's not being done, there are ways of doing that. So just kind of check out what's going on in your local area if you're feeling too sad, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
resources, not discourses. That's what I say.
Yeah, it's going to be, yeah, things are going to be changed. It's going to be different. I don't know. I think we'll make it through. I think we'll be okay, but it's all going to be changed one way or the other. Come hell or high water. So we'll see. But yeah, before we go today, Eleanor, what New Year's resolutions do you have this year?
My New Year's resolution, and this comes out from a friend of the show, shout out to Edith, I'm going to be a more specific hater.
I like that.
So, like, you gotta, I'm endeavoring to be able to describe more precisely why I'm hating on something or some individual, like I'm really trying to dust up. Like don't come out here with like, just silly hates left, right. Don't be petty with it. Like a specific hater. I'm going to be a more specific hater. Other than that, we have another month, until the, Asian New Year, but, it's going to be the year of the wood dragon. And, I myself am a dog, so it's going to be a terrible year for me. So I've just got to like keep my head down and work hard, which is the answer to everything. So,
grind
hating
set
specifically,
mindset. That's right.
grind set mindset. My dentist says I grind in my sleep. He real as fuck for that, etc. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He gave me a mouth guard.
I said no.
I said no. I can't do it. He's like, just wear the fucking mouth guard, man. What the fuck is wrong?
I gotta stay on my grind. Gotta stay on it. Yeah.
Yeah. As for me, I'm going to slowly getting back my ability to read that I lost almost totally after my daughter was born. Gonna watch more movies. I don't know. You know what? I'm finally gonna finish the prologue to the book that I've been pondering on for too goddamn long, and actually try to write the rest of it. That'll be fun. That'll be a great thing for all to look forward to. Something that I'm never gonna publish. It's 2024. Let's fucking go. We'll figure it out.
We will.
God, I hope we figure it out. Not gonna leave us with a bad note, so just the hold steady was right. You gotta stay positive. You just fuck it. We'll figure it out. We gotta do something.
Fuck it, we ball. It's the year of fuck it, we ball. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right? The year of we're going nuts here. We're gonna have a lot of good times, a lot of fun. Other than that, it's we're just getting back into the saddle here. We'll be back next week with something. Don't know what yet. But we will have that. Eleanor, what else is going on with you?
In December, but everyone had things going on in December. If you want more retrospectives, I had my top medieval history books of the year over at my blog, going-medieval.com. So check that out if you want more in-depth me blabbering about books that I enjoyed. As I say, paperback's coming out of The Once and Future Sex. Jesus Christ, buy my book. Help! She's a good book and very beautiful. So go check that out if you haven't yet. And now she's going to be cheap. So, brilliant stuff. And of course, I am on the socials at Going Medieval doing God knows what. Who even knows what I'm doing around here? But at the moment, I was mostly doing a bunch of Tacoma posting, but it's going to be back to the usual pints with the lads any moment now. So hey.
Yep. They'll see you come in. They'll be like, there she is. There's trouble. Yep.
Oh, they'll let anyone in here.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the best. Oh, that's the best feeling in the world. Yeah. You know where you can find me. Luke is amazing on everything. People's History of the Old Republic is my old show. Check it out if you want to hear me talking about Star Wars. Anyway, thank you so very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Happy New Year. Bye.